Thanks for staying with us. You're watching WION The World is One. I'm Adha Juneja and this is Speed News. Let's start with all the stories making headlines today. US President Donald Trump made a surprise audio call during the US Embassy's 250th Independence Day celebrations in New Delhi. Trump expressed his admiration for Prime Minister Narendra Modi, called him great and added that he is a big fan of Prime Minister Modi. Trump further praised India, saying, and I quote here, "We have never been closer to India and India can count on me 100% in our country. If they ever need help, they know who they call. They call right here," unquote. Amid buzz over a peace deal between US and Iran, US President Donald Trump has tempered expectations of a deal by saying he has told his negotiators not to rush into a deal. In a post on Truth Social, Trump wrote that negotiations between the two sides are proceeding in an orderly and constructive manner. But he has instructed US negotiators not to rush into a deal since time is on Washington's side. Further, Trump said that the US naval blockade in Hormuz will remain in force until a final agreement is sealed. In another post on Truth Social, he said the same. Trump lashed out at those criticizing a possible deal to end the three-month war with Iran, calling them losers. Well, Trump also hit out at the Obama administration, accusing it of signing what he called one of the worst deals ever, which gave Tehran a direct path to developing nuclear weapons. Trump was referring to the 2015 deal signed between Iran, US and the European Union. Hundreds of people took to the streets after police raided the headquarters of Turkey's main opposition party, the Republican People's Party or CHP. The operation was carried out following a court order removing party leader Özgür Özel and several of his deputies from their positions. Protesters gathered outside the party offices, condemning the move and accusing authorities of targeting the opposition. Russian state media has broadcast footage showing extensive damage and rescue operations at a college dormitory in the Russia-occupied Luhansk region. Russia attributed the deadly destruction to Ukrainian drone strikes, which resulted in the deaths of at least 18 people and left over 60 injured. California Governor Gavin Newsom has submitted a request to US President Donald Trump for an emergency declaration to support ongoing response operations in Orange County. The request follows a dangerous chemical tank leak that triggered mass evacuations. Authorities in Southern California say the leak may be showing signs of stabilizing. Officials in Orange County say a crack was discovered in the damaged tank that could be helping release pressure, reducing the immediate risk of a catastrophic explosion. Around 40,000 residents in the Garden Grove area of Orange County, southeast of Los Angeles, were ordered to evacuate after a tank containing toxic chemicals began leaking fumes near a densely populated neighborhood just miles from Disneyland. The Democratic Republic of Congo continues to battle a worsening Ebola outbreak as regions controlled by the AFC M23 rebel group have introduced strict containment measures in eastern Congo. Authorities in the rebel had areas which have imposed a mandatory 21-day quarantine for all people arriving from Bunia and Ituri provinces in an effort to curb the spread of the virus. The World Health Organization says more than 900 suspected Ebola cases have now been identified across the country, including 101 confirmed infections. WHO Director General says surveillance efforts have been significantly expanded as health authorities race to contain the outbreak. WHO has declared the outbreak of the rare strain of Ebola a public health emergency of international concern. The agency warns that delayed detection, the lack of a vaccine or virus-specific treatment, ongoing armed violence, and frequent population movement are increasing the risk of wider transmission. Bangladesh recorded 16 more deaths with measles-like symptoms in the last 24 hours, taking the total number of such deaths this year to 528. According to the Directorate General of Health Services, more than 1,300 new suspected cases were also reported during the period. In Philippines, at least 3 people were confirmed dead after a building under construction collapsed. Rescuers continued searching for 18 people who are listed as missing. Initial reports suggested 24 people had been rescued from the rubble, as well as 2 from an apartment-style hotel that was hit when the building came down. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has sent a message of condolences to Chinese President Xi Jinping over a deadly gas explosion at a coal mine in northern China. A gas explosion at a coal mine in northern China's Shaanxi province on Friday killed 82 people and injured 182 others, while 2 remain unaccounted for. Well, the incident marked the country's worst mining disaster in nearly 2 decades. China launched the Shenzhou 23 spacecraft with 3 astronauts heading to its space station, including one set to stay in space for a year. Ahead of the launch, a special send-off ceremony was held in Jiuquan, with hundreds of people gathered to wave farewell to the astronauts. At least 24 people have been killed and over 70 injured in the bombing of a train in Pakistan's Quetta. Officials say a suicide car bomb was used to hit a shuttle train carrying Pakistani security personnel and their families in Balochistan. Authorities say the blast occurred after an explosives-laden vehicle rammed into one of the train's carriages, triggering a massive blast. The impact derailed parts of the train, shattered windows, and damaged over a dozen vehicles parked along the nearby road. Reports suggest nearby buildings were also damaged in the deadly blast as the train came to a halt just a few meters away from the affected structures. The Catholic Church, Bolivia's Ombudsman Office and the Permanent Assembly of Human Rights of Bolivia called for an immediate end to violence in the country. They have demanded an urgent, independent and transparent investigation into clashes that left at least one person dead and others injured. The groups also referred to allegations of human rights violations during the unrest. The Venezuelan Prison Observatory, a civil society organization that monitors prison conditions in the country, reported that a riot had broken out at a prison in the state of Barinas. There have been no reports of injuries or casualties so far. The organization stated on social media platform X that the unrest began when inmates at the Judicial Detention Center took over the facility to protest alleged beatings and torture following the arrival of a new prison director. President Draupadi Murmu will present 66 Padma Awards at the first civil investiture ceremony for 2026, which is to be held in the Ganatantra Mandap of the Rashtrapati Bhavan. During the ceremony, it is to be attended by Vice President, Prime Minister and Union Home Minister, among others. The President will confer 2 Padma Vibhushan, 6 Padma Bhushan and 58 Padma Shri awards. Fuel prices in India have gone up once again, marking the 4th hike in just 2 weeks. After initially absorbing losses to the tune of around 1,000 crore rupees per day, state-run oil marketing companies are passing on rising global crude oil costs to customers. Petrol prices were increased by up to 2.61 rupees per litre, while diesel rates rose by as much as 2.71 rupees per litre across major cities. In Delhi, petrol is now retailing at 102.12 rupees per litre and diesel at 95.20 rupees. Kolkata continues to have the highest petrol prices among metros at over 113 rupees per litre. The latest revisions have pushed fuel prices to their highest levels since May 2022 after nearly 3 years of relative stability.
मजबूरी है तुम्हारी भी क्या करो।
Delhi is set to witness another week of heat wave conditions, with the Indian Meteorological Department issuing a yellow alert for the capital over the next 3 days. The Weather Department has forecast strong surface winds and heat wave-like conditions during the afternoon and evening hours through the next 3 days. The maximum temperature on Monday is expected to hover around 44 degrees Celsius, with the minimum temperature around 30 degrees Celsius. London is sweltering in the warmest May weather in over 80 years. Temperatures have surged past 30 degrees parts of the capital. The current conditions make it officially one of the earliest heat waves in the UK since 2012. Los Angeles Fire Department crews are battling a large fire that broke out at a tire and automotive parts facility in Southgate on Sunday afternoon. Crews said that the fire was designated as a second alarm as the flames continued to rip through the property. Workplace monitoring apps may be sharing employee data with big tech companies. According to a new US study, researchers found that 9 popular bossware platforms including HubStaff, Time Doctor and Deputy shared worker information with third parties such as Google, Meta and Microsoft. The report said the apps collected data including emails, device details, IP addresses, websites visited and even location information. Researchers warned that some apps could track employees even off the clock, raising major concerns over workplace privacy and digital surveillance. OpenAI has announced new tools to fight AI-generated misinformation and deepfakes. The company is partnering with Google to add SynthID invisible watermarks to AI-generated images, while also launching a public verification tool to check whether visuals were created using OpenAI systems. The tool uses SynthID and C2PA metadata signals to verify images generated through ChatGPT, OpenAI, API and Codex. OpenAI said the move comes as AI image generators become more sophisticated, making it harder to distinguish real content from fake visuals. The European Central Bank is urging lenders to speed up cybersecurity upgrades as advanced AI systems begin identifying software weaknesses much faster than before. ECB Executive Board member Frank Elderson said banks must accelerate software patching and security responses as AI tools like Anthropic's Mythos can detect vulnerabilities within minutes. The ECB will hold talks with banks on cyber risks linked to powerful AI models and ask US lenders to access to Mythos to share insights with European peers. The warning comes as European regulators fear cyber criminals could also gain access to such advanced AI technology. Global markets opened higher as hopes of a possible peace deal in West Asia boosted investor confidence. US stocks future gained. Japan's Nikkei 225 breached 65,000 for the first time on Monday, hitting a record high in holiday-themed Asia trading after reports that the Strait of Hormuz may reopen soon, which pushed oil prices down and lifted investor sentiment. Taiwan's TAIEX also hit an all-time high, surging past 43,000. Australia's ASX 200 was 0.27% higher. China's CSI 300 added 0.48%. Markets in Hong Kong and South Korea are closed for public holidays. US markets will also be closed on Monday for Memorial Day. However, uncertainty remains over when the key shipping route could reopen. Analysts say markets may remain cautious until a formal agreement is confirmed. Oil prices dropped more than 4%, hitting a 2-week low as investors reacted to signs of progress in US-Iran peace talks. Brent slipped below $100 a barrel, while crude also saw sharp losses. Markets are hopeful a deal could ease tensions and help reopen the Strait of Hormuz, which is a key route for global oil supplies. However, major disagreements remain and analysts warn a final agreement could still take months. The US dollar slipped in early Asian trade as hopes for a deal to reopen the Strait of Hormuz boosted investor appetite for risk. The euro, British pound and commodity-linked currencies gained, while oil prices dropped below $100 a barrel amid expectations of easing tensions in West Asia. However, optimism remains cautious after Washington signaled that any agreement with Iran is still far from final. Analysts say markets are waiting for concrete progress before betting on a latest and lasting recovery. After 11 seasons, Stephen Colbert has officially signed off from The Late Show, bringing an end to one of late-night television's most popular runs. The final episode featured a special performance by Paul McCartney and former band leader John Batiste, who took the audience back in time when a performance of Hello Goodbye at the same venue where the Beatles made their iconic US debut in 1964 happened. From late-night television to a full-blown celebration of geek culture, thousands of gamers, anime lovers and cosplay fans gathered in Atlanta for MomoCon 2026. What started as a small college campus event has now grown into one of the biggest pop culture conventions in the US, with more than 65,000 people expected this year. From video games and mangas to handmade dice, collectibles and costumes, the event has turned into a space where fans can fully express themselves and feel a sense of community. Meanwhile, at Cannes 2026, actor Gillian Anderson spoke about the challenges women filmmakers still face in the industry. Speaking at the festival, Anderson said that even though more women directors are getting opportunities today, true equality in the film world still remains an uphill battle. The actor attended the festival as a jury member for the Women's Worth Award. Dashcam footage of Britney Spears' March driving under the influence arrest has now been released by police in California. The video shows officers stopping the pop star after reports of erratic driving, followed by field sobriety test and her eventual arrest. In the footage, Spears is seen asking officers if they thought she was drunk, while also expressing concern about her phone and belongings. She later pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of reckless driving.
Like us to drive you around the corner where there's people that are watching. You're going to get in our car. We'll put you.